want to say, again, thank you to everyone for being here. For those that don't know who I am, I'm Michael Boynton, the Town Administrator here in Medway, and it is an absolute pleasure to see this project essentially come to a close. There are still some pieces that need to be done, but it's more housekeeping nature. But this is just an incredible experience to have been through this at a time where there's been so many positive transformations taking place here in town. And the 109 project was clearly the centerpiece of this. And its outcome and its success has been fantastic. I would be disappointing folks if I didn't have a good construction joke for the day. So did you hear about the guy that walked into a bar with a slab of asphalt under his arm? The bartender said, "What can I do for you?" He said, "I want 2 drinks, one for me and one for the road." I didn't say they were good jokes. I just said I worked on a few jokes for the day. So this is as I said, this is an amazing accomplishment at this point. There are a lot of road projects that take place in the state, and the success of the project depends on the team that's been put together and the teamwork that goes into it. It's not the success of one individual or one company or one agency. It's a success of everyone that has worked on this from day one, which was back when funds were requested, right through the point of working through the various state agencies and state approval process, right up to the point of managing this project on a day-to-day basis to where we are today. There are a number of folks that I would like to recognize. I certainly want to recognize the most amazing legislative delegation in the Commonwealth, and we have the benefit of them actually being part of Medway's hometown. We have Senator Karen Spilka, our Senate President Karen Spilka. We have Representative Jeff Roy and Representative Brian Murray. So please give them a big round of applause for the work that they've done. Thank you. An awful lot of what we do here in town obviously starts on the work that they do in town, and that again is a great partnership, and I'm very appreciative of the work that our team has put together here. I would like to recognize the members of the Medway Board of Selectmen. Selectman Chairman John Foresto, Mary Jane White, and Dennis Crowley are here today. Selectmen Glenn Trindade and Rick DiNincenzo send their regrets. They had other commitments that they couldn't break from today, but certainly they are here in spirit celebrating this accomplishment. I would like to recognize the fine work of our state partners. To my right is Jonathan Gulliver. Jonathan is the State Highway Administrator here for Mass DOT and for the Commonwealth. Barry Lorian is the District 3 Highway Director. Barry's here with his team, Tom Emmerich. I'm going to have a few other shout outs here for some special folks in a couple of minutes, but again, I want to recognize these fine folks that are here today joining us. A number of thank yous. First off, the Medway Board of Selectmen. The Medway Board of Selectmen, this board has been together for many years, and their vision helped bring this together. And I'd be remiss for not recognizing and commending my predecessor, Suzanne Kennedy, who was at the early start of this, who got all of this running. Tom Holder was the DPW director at the time. There was an awful lot of work that went into this piece to get to where we are. So a thank you to the Medway Board and town staff. The Route 109 committees, there were 2 different committees that worked on this. Dennis is going to talk a little bit about that in a couple of minutes. But an amazing work, a fine job by the Route 109 committees to again, not only get the funding, but to put the vision together and work through where we are to get us to where we are today. That brings me to Jeff Howie and John Diaz and the GPI team for the engineering work. It's not an easy process. There were a lot of rewrites. There were a lot of erasers on pencils that disappeared, but again, great job by our engineering team and our design firm that put this together. The members of the Boston Metropolitan Planning Organization, the Boston MPO, for funding this project. Dennis Crowley was a member of the MPO representing Medway and the SWAP district, and again, you can't imagine the volume of requests that come into the Commonwealth for road and sidewalk money on an annual basis for transportation funds. The funds are definitely highly competitive, and Dennis and the team at SWAP and also the full MPO supported this project. And again, I want to say thank you to them. Dennis Giambetti, where's Dennis? Dennis is right in front of you. Thanks, Dennis. Dennis is on the MPO now. Dennis, thank you. Selectman Glenn Trindade has taken Dennis Crowley's spot on that. And again, thank you very much for the support from the MPO. Mass DOT leadership, as I mentioned, we've had some assistance and some steps along the way. John Gulliver. John had stepped in and assisted us on a couple of issues relative to sidewalks, a few other things that had happened. Barry has been most helpful to us from the district perspective. But I definitely want to recognize a couple of folks. I want to recognize Scott Kalin. Scott was the money guy, so to speak, back in the office in Worcester, who was managing this project. And boots on the ground. I've worked on a number of projects with a number of folks at state agencies in my 25 years of doing this. I have never worked with someone who has been as accommodating, who has been as diligent, and who has been as outstanding to work with as Giulio Fontecchio. Please give Giulio Fontecchio and his team a round of applause. One thing after today, Giulio has made a special request that Dennis lose his cell phone number. Brian Bernier and Wayne Taylor are not here. I don't see them here. They were the Amarello's management team. And again, I think back to 2016, the late summer of 2016, when we sat in at the District 3 offices when this project was proposed, or not proposed, when it was fully funded and all the contracts had been executed. And they looked at us and said, this is a 3-year project, and every single mouth in the room went, huh? But I can't tell you how fast 3 years went by. Those driving the road every day may challenge that theory, but 3 years really did go by quickly on this project. Jim Smith, Medway's DPW Highway Project coordinator for this. Jim was our eyes and ears on this on a daily basis, and Jim has also requested Dennis lose his cell phone number. Excellent job by Jim. Dave D'Amico, Pete Pelletier, Barry Smith, you guys certainly at the early start of this, outstanding effort, most appreciative. And not early start, but all the way through this as well. And again, I think that one of the other individuals who has been keeping everyone up to date on this, Sandy Johnston, our communications director, has been on top of this for the last couple of years, making sure that folks knew exactly what was going to happen, when it happened, and the communication with the town has been outstanding. The event today, I want to give a shout out to Keith Peaton. Keith came to the office several months ago and said, you know, this absolutely needs to happen. We've had quite a bit of activity here. Keith is the chair of the Medway Economic Development Committee, and said that a lot of folks have been impacted by the project, obviously now impacted in a beneficial way because of the project being done and the benefits that are coming along. So a big thank you to Keith. A thank you to the Medway Business Council for your partnership. Wayne Texera is here as president of the Medway Business Council. Again, we understood the impacts that had taken place along the way, and we're very appreciative of that. And that brings me to 2 final thank yous. To Stephanie Ohajian and Barbara St. Andre for pulling this together today. You guys are amazing. Thank you very, very much. And most importantly, I want to thank the Medway residents. I want to thank all of the Medway residents and Medway business owners who endured this project. Again, it could have been a lot worse, but the effort of the team here, the patience and the coordination all the way through made this thing an outstanding, outstanding project. So to our community, I say thank you very, very much. And I know that is echoed by members of the board as well. At this time, I'd like to ask Senate President Karen Spilka to come up for words from the Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I could tell a joke, but the closest that I have is, and this isn't really funny, I will give you a warning. I think I started advocating for this project soon after I became state senator. I'm now Senate president. So we know how long sometimes these projects can take, but there's so much foundation and groundwork, literally, that needs to take place before a shovel could hit the ground. And it's a great day to celebrate this project. It really is. And I have to just start out by saying and acknowledging what a tremendous job Medway has done with this beautiful Choate Park. Look around. 14, 12, 10 years ago, it did not look like this. This has become a real jewel for Medway. Congratulations to all those involved. And today is a beautiful day, fall day to be here. So I would like to highlight that projects this size and scope are a result of great team efforts. As you heard Michael thanks so many people out here. It doesn't happen by one person, two persons. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over, several years of nights. It takes a long time. And I just also would like to acknowledge everybody who had a part. And this is a great turnout. It's a large ribbon cutting for a local road project, probably one of the largest that I've seen. But I'd like to acknowledge Town Manager Michael Boynton, the entire Board of Selectmen, and I know Dennis was on the committee, the 109 committee folks, Medway Economic Development Committee, the businesses, MassDOT, for all of your work and keeping this project going. The MPO, I think one of the first MPO meetings and hearings that I went to was to help advocate for this project. But I'd also like to give a special thanks, as Michael did, to the business community and the Medway residents for so many years going back and forth and seeing so much construction and wondering when this will finish. It is a beautiful corridor for Medway now, between the great work on the road, the park, and everything else. And I want to thank all the businesses and residents for their patience. The patience clearly has been rewarded with a safer, more accessible, and really beautiful Route 109. So congratulations to all those who played a role. It's nice that it's done, and now we can just celebrate and enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate it very much. As I said, there were two 109 committees that envisioned this project and the way it was going to come together. The chair of the second committee is none other than Selectman Dennis Crowley. And Dennis, I can tell, and this with all seriousness, Dennis has lived this project every single day, not from the eyes of a selectman per se, but for the eyes of the business and the residents of the town. Worried about where we are with traffic flow, where we are with the operations of the project. And again, that was a very positive benefit to us, as extra eyes and ears are always a positive thing. So with that, I would like to ask Mr. Crowley to come up and speak on behalf of the 109 committees.
Thank you, Mike. If you haven't been thanked by Michael, would you please raise your hand? But thank you for coming. Actually, I just flew in from Las Vegas. By the way, this isn't a joke. I just flew in from Las Vegas last night. And yeah, boy, am I tired. If I knew so many people were going to be here, I probably would have taken some notes. But I have absolutely no notes, and this is going to be taught from the top of my head. We have a 5-minute limit. Hopefully, I'll stay within a 3-minute. Just a little history in this. First, I wanted to thank Paul Yorkis, standing there. I wanted to thank Paul for all his hard work. Paul, in the very beginning, was as everybody knows, that the town had to do the engineering, support the engineering, and pay for the engineering for this, and Paul was able to get us $300,000 from Representative McGovern's office, and I think $400,000 from the Patrick Duvall's office. So, Paul, that's what kicked this project off, is that $700,000 we were able to get from the state and the federal government. So, thank you, Paul. I also want to thank all the members of the board. Hopefully I can remember them all. Paul Yorkis was on the committee with us. Dan Hoop was on the committee with us. Matt Buckley was on the committee with us. Matt Hayes was on the committee. And Mary Jane White was on the committee. If I forgot anybody, don't raise your hand and embarrass me. A little bit of the history that we went through with this is that we always knew that the money had to come from the MPO, and none of us on the board knew what the MPO was. We had no idea what it was. We kept waiting for this funds that would come through. And with the help of the state representatives and Karen Spilka, we were able to learn the process and how to handle this. And it was Rich Dunn, when he was chairman, said, we need to get a member on the MPO to figure out how this all works. So Rich Dunn suggested to the board that he becomes the member that gets elected to the MPO. Of course, Rich resigned and turned to me and said, you're going to be the guy who's going to run for the position. So we ran against Hopkinton, and we were successful and able to win that position and have a position on the MPO. The MPO is meeting every Tuesday, every other Tuesday. And the MPO gets about $90 million a year in funding that they can use for road projects, trails, and improvements in the communities. So out of that roughly $90 million, this toll project, although the bid came in about $9.5 million, somewhere around there, the state has an obligation to pick up police details and some other utility work that had to be done. So the whole project probably came in around $13.5 million. The residents of the town of Medway were able to give us $500,000 in one of our town meetings, and that $500,000 is the only money that the town of Medway has ever put into this project, and quite frankly, we haven't spent all that $500,000. So the history was, I want to very, very clearly thank the MPO, because that's where the funding came from. And the chairman of the MPO was very supportive of us at Mass Highway, and all the members of the MPO, there's probably, I don't even remember how many members there are, there's probably like 20 members of the MPO, and those are the ones that actually voted to give the town of Medway the funds. I'm sure there were some phone calls that were made by the state reps, and Karen made some phone calls too to make sure that we had enough votes to get the funding for the project. But I don't want to ramble on, other than the fact that I wanted to thank all of the residents of the town who's put up with this for so long. But the project at the very end of it, particularly when I came back from Las Vegas and I saw the lines on the street, I said, this project is almost done. So we're not quite there. I think there's some issues that we still have to resolve and come back for. But the bottom line is, without the support of the businesses, without the support of the residents of the town, and there was a lot of, you know, those, when they raised sewer manholes we had, luckily we didn't have any accidents, but that went on for about 2 months. But we got through it without any accidents, and it was, if you listen to Friends of Medway, it was a real challenge to drive down 109. But I know it affected all the businesses, it affected our businesses, I'm sure it affected Tina's business as well. But the businesses hung in there with us. Appreciative of all the residents, the businesses. Thank you everybody who's coming tonight. I thought there'd be 2 or 3 people here tonight. If I knew all these people here, I would have had something good to say. Thank you everybody for coming, I appreciate it.
Dennis said it's taken a long time. To put that into perspective, Dennis's first year on the board was the year after they paved it for the first time. You know,
Where's your next job, Mike?
As I mentioned earlier, Keith Peden, who is the chair of Medway's Economic Development Committee, came to us several months ago and suggested that it would be a great idea to have a celebration, and that after many years of work, celebrating the outcome is exactly what was appropriate for the town. Now, we had talked about some type of a real simple ribbon cutting, but Keith's ideas and Keith's vision brought today together. So I would like to ask Keith to come up on behalf of the Medway Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, Michael. I'm honored to be here in front of you today, and the reference to my favorite TV show of Madam Secretary, and now moving to Madam President. We have our own Madam President with us, with Karen Spilka. So appreciate the opportunity. I just ask you to look to the pond and look to the trees and understand that this is a wonderful bucolic New England community. We have tremendous advantages here. I've lived in the community now for over 40 years. But since 3 years that I've now been retired, I've just started to experience it and even learn street names, because I literally didn't know it for that amount of time. I was one of those people that enjoyed the advantages of Medway, worked 14 hours a day, raised my family in this community, 3 children, a wonderful wife, and benefited for everything that all of you people have brought to the community for all of these years. So I thought it was time to give back. I'm always into the notion of collaboration and facilitation. And as Michael represents this project, and I hear Dennis and others speak, you realize it's an ultimate teamwork effort. And Michael needs to be acknowledged as the leader of that team, and somebody who brings people together on a selfless basis and facilitates results without having to always be in front of the stage and taking credit for that. So there's a lot of selfless people that I realize that exist in this community, and collaborate and work together to make it what it is. The Economic Development Committee is all about facilitating planned economic growth. Growth that isn't intrusive. I guess the last 3 years, 4 years have been a little bit intrusive. And for tolerating that, we really thank the Medway business community. All of those businesses around 109 who have had, clientele flow crimped a little bit. We hope now that with the opening and the completion of this project, those customers more than return and come to your businesses on a more frequent basis. But you can see the work of the community amongst us here. This park is obviously beautiful. Medway and all the way from Milford now to Medfield. You've got a beautiful stretch of 109 that's been completed thanks to our state legislators. I'm reminded because, not like Dennis, I didn't get back from Las Vegas last night, but on Monday I returned from a lovely steamboat cruise on the Mississippi. So I had 8 days on a paddle wheeler coming up from New Orleans to Memphis. And you realize the economic flow that goes down the Mississippi. We've got our own Mississippi out there. It's called 109, and it flows, as I said, from Milford to Medfield. And hopefully that development will help us sustain this community, fund the infrastructure so there's not total dependence on the individual homeowner and taxpayer, such that we can enjoy the benefits of that and sustain our school systems and our local town government. So I thank all those who were involved. I thank Michael for his leadership, the selectmen for their support. So appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much, Keith. As I said at the outset, Medway is very, very fortunate to have not just one rep, one senator, but we have a delegation. And we have a delegation that works tirelessly on our behalf all the time on all issues, not just transportation, but education, public safety. They've secured a significant amount of funding for us in the 2020 budget for some initiatives, right from the community farm to public safety enhancements. And it is my pleasure that both of these gentlemen are here today to again welcome the completion of this project, and we welcome them. So I'd like to ask Representative Jeff Roy and Representative Brian Murray to come up.
Well, thank you, Michael, and I do want to say a heartfelt congratulations to this community. This is a tremendous project and a tremendous enhancement to the community. When I was first elected in 2012, we were just about to undergo a streetscape transformation of downtown Franklin, which lasted approximately 3 years, which took me to 2015. I breathed a heavy sigh of relief that a project of that magnitude was completed, and just to walk into the beginning of this project in my other community of Medway in July of 2016, which was to take 3 years. So it's amazing to see this transformation of both of the communities, and as previous speakers have said, this project really does involve a lot of good coordination between state and local officials, both financially and on the ground. It also featured patient residents, businesses, and other users of Main Street who weathered the storm for 3 years. Everyone knew it was worth it for the community enhancements, and these changes made this business and recreation area an improved and safer place for both drivers and pedestrians. To me, the most remarkable piece is that beautiful entrance to this beautiful park, and congratulations to you on that. The other thing, the project began in July 2016 and was completed on time and on budget, and that's something that we all love to see in our communities. Finally, I wanted to share with you a little bit of history about Route 109. Some things you may not know. Route 109 was originally charted on March 9th, 1804, as the Hartford and Dedham Turnpike. Yes, this road was supposed to get people in Massachusetts from Dedham all the way to Hartford, Connecticut. It was a private toll road, but was never successful, so it became free in 1830. In the approximately 17-mile section between Dedham and West Medway cost $1,940 per mile to build. Pretty close to what this section is. The route begins at Route 16 in Milford, Brian's district, and heads east into Medway, then continues into Millis, then crosses the Charles River as it enters Medfield, and east of Medfield it travels along the Dover-Walpole town line before entering westward. It interchanges with Interstate 95, Route 128, as it enters Dedham, and then crosses the Charles twice more before crossing into the Boston neighborhood of West Roxbury, where it immediately ends and the VFW Parkway begins. This project adds to that unique history, and the Commonwealth is happy to have been a participant in making it so beautiful and rich for the community of Medway. We have 3 citations to hand out today, and those are legislative citations for both the House and the Senate, and I'm going to turn that over to Representative Murray for his remarks and the citations.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for inviting me here today. You have finished really a wonderful project in this community. The roadway/park projects is really unique. Not to be redundant, but certainly the talk about team effort from the community is so important. I was a member of the Board of Selectmen in the town of Milford when we underwent our roadway improvement through 7 major intersections on Route 16 in Milford. And it's tremendously disruptive to the community, both to the residents, the business owners. It takes a great deal of coordination among your town boards, principally your Board of Selectmen, but also your police, your fire, your highway department, as well as dealing with contractors and engineers who are not necessarily familiar with your community. So to navigate that and to get through that is a tremendous amount of effort. But clearly it's worth it because the roadway is just absolutely beautiful and so very, very functional. This park is remarkable. This is the kind of amenity that folks look to when they're looking to relocate. And to be quite honest, it's these kinds of projects that really make a town a community of people. And you're so very, very fortunate to have that in Medway. So I do have citations from the House and the Senate, and they read as follows. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts Legislature offers its sincerest congratulations, and we have three very significant and important individuals who participated and led this project. First, Dennis Crowley, Chairman of the Route 109 Committee. Secondly, Keith Peden, Chairman of the Economic Development Committee. Yes, you get one, yeah. And lastly, to the head of the team, Michael Boynton, the Town Administrator. And this is in recognition of the completion of the Route 109 project, the main artery of Medway that helps the community grow and thrive. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and pleasant traveling and continued success in all endeavors. It's given the 16th day of October 2019. It's signed Robert A. DeLeo, Speaker of the House. It's offered by Senate President Karen Spilka and State Representatives Jeffrey Roy and Brian Murray. Gentlemen, thank you.
You can't forget the leader of the team. You really mean a pretty photo? Where? Can you do us a nice, beautiful picture? Look like the Three Stooges up there.
I'm just going to cross it out anyways. They come up a little bit.
There you go. This way?
Yeah.
What? You're killing me today, Michael.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Jeff, I have one concern though. You mentioned toll roads, so I can understand what the next topic, the next Board of Selectmen meeting will be. Try to revisit that.
Yeah.
All right, that didn't go anywhere.
No.
That was-
The tolls were 10 cents.
The jokes are worse than this. One of the things, I think it's important for folks to understand, again, the significance of a project like this. We have our local leadership that works on this type of a project, and then, as I said, we had some absolutely outstanding local management. Mass DOT set up an office right here in town. Julio manned that office with his team every single day, and any type of issues that we had, Julio was spot on to handle them. Occasionally, when you have a project that's this size, there are going to be issues that need to be resolved at a level outside of local town offices, let's say. And we have been extremely fortunate to have two advocates on our behalf. With Barry Glorian, who is the District 3 Director. Barry was always there and responsive to the questions and issues that we had as they arose. But I want to give a special shout out to Jonathan Gulliver, Mass Highways Administrator, Mass DOT's Highway Administrator. The #1 highway guy in the state called me back from his cell phone and said, "What's the issue? What do you need? And how can I get it resolved?" And I think within probably 24 hours, a major issue that was staring us in the face was resolved, and was resolved to the town's favor. So with that type of partnership, you can't go wrong. And it is that type of a partnership with the Baker administration and their leaders that allowed this project, again, to move from being conceptual to actually being complete. So with that, I would like to thank Jonathan Gulliver and ask him to say a few words on behalf of the public.
Thank you, Michael. And I'll be really brief because I think pretty much everything that could have been said has been said at this point. But I am going to reiterate some thank yous and so on. First off, transportation plays a really important role in everything we do in our daily lives. It gets you to your jobs, gets you to friends, gets you recreational, really connects communities to opportunities, though, is really what it all comes down to. And that connection to communities and really providing opportunities is really a cornerstone of the Baker Polito administration approach to transportation. And this was a project that really delivered on all of those notes. We really provided a lot of opportunity for the downtown business. We improved some safety elements, whether you're now going through downtown, whether you're driving, biking, or a pedestrian, you're doing it in a safe way on a much improved facilities. As I said, as has been noted by pretty much everybody today, construction for a project of this size doesn't just happen without partnership. It takes a lot of different partners, whether it's with the local folks or whether it's the legislature or our friends at Federal Highway. It takes a lot of partnership to get projects like this done. So I do want to go through really quickly and reiterate some of those really key partnerships that made this project happen. So the town administrator here, Michael Boynton, and his DPW director, David D'Amico, and their staff, they could not have been better through this project, working with our local staff, and again, as Michael said, even working at a higher level when needed to really get this project done. They really worked well on behalf of this town and really, really delivered for everybody here. And their efforts are going to really show for years with the advocacy that they provided throughout this project. But I also do want to recognize, again, some folks on the project team that actually did the day-to-day work. Barry Lorian's been mentioned, and his team were the folks that had the boots on the ground every single day. Our engineer, GPI, our contractor, Amarello, they all came every day and made sure this project happened the right way. And then it's been mentioned before, but it's worth mentioning again, Giulio Fontecchio, he's our man on the ground, and this is yet another really great project that he delivered for us. Thank you, everybody.
I forgot to mention at the outset, Dennis asked me to pass along a special message today in light of the completion, the success. Muffins are 3 for $5. See, these are just falling today. These are not going well. Keep my day job. That's exactly the point. Hopefully, keep my day job. That's a better point. Again, there's leadership, and then there's leadership. In Medway, we are very, very fortunate to have a Board of Selectmen that thinks of the community first at all times. And that was definitely the case as part of this project and throughout this project. Talking about what do we need to do, what should we do, what are the extras that should be done, what are the things that we need to do to make this a success. And they set some parameters for my office, for DPW, and how we would need to work with the community, how we would need to manage the project as it went along. And again, that was the sign of the leadership of this Board of Selectmen. So without further ado, Chairman John Foresto from the Medway Board of Selectmen.
Good morning. Just a couple of things. First of all, is Alan still here from the police? Thanks to all the retired policemen. No, really, I mean, these people, this summer was hot, and those guys are out there every day putting their body out there, and some of them put more than their body out there, but it was a great job by those people. We're lucky to have a group of retirees like that who come forward and help us when we need it. So thank you, Alan. Second thing, how many people actually live here in Medway? Okay. Do you have this dream at night of running over those manhole covers? I have this dream, I have it every night, of running the slalom run down Main Street and not making it. And honest to God, I still do it. I just can't get it out of my mind, I still do it. But it's been a long time. This project started 10, 11 years ago. I remember Rich Dunn talking about it, yeah, and then he left town and left Dennis in the bag. But people don't realize what Dennis has gone through for 8 to 9 years. The MPO membership means you have to drive into Boston in the middle of rush hour every other week, sit in the DOT building, and work with those people. Not the easiest thing to do, especially for Dennis. But I'd just like to thank Dennis again, because I know it's been 8 or 9 years of a lot of hard work that people don't realize how much you have to do behind the scenes to make these type of things happen. And Dennis did it, so thank you, Dennis. Other than that, I'm glad it's over. I guess my question to Michael is, what's the next project? Look around. I mean, I think we're all very proud of the things that have been accomplished in the last couple of years. We look forward to even more improvements in the town. No more main streets, but he still has about 70 other streets he wants to do in town the next 3 years. So we'll still have to have some stoppages in other places. So with that, one last word. We're lucky to have Mike. He's a great town administrator. People don't realize how he takes these things to heart, and the type of, getting up in the middle of the night, driving out here to see what's going on. If the lines are really going down and not going down that day, it's not done by everybody, but Mike did that. So one of the reasons this is done, and was done effectively, because of his work. So thank you, Mike, and he's going to do the wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. John's right, though. It actually, that period of time from, I think, the 1st of June through when we did the paving in September has created some significant issues for the police department, because so many people got absolutely skilled at doing the slalom around them that they're not sure who's OUI and who isn't now, because people are still doing it. So they're checking everybody, just to be on the safe side. I do want to give a shout out to Chief Tingley and Chief Lynch. We had our share of a couple of public safety incidents, let's say, during the project. The situations were extremely well managed by our public safety folks. And Chief Tingley definitely getting those calls at many hours of the day and night about different traffic impacts. So thank you to both of you gentlemen and your departments as well. Outstanding job. That pretty much wraps it up for us. That was one bad joke. And thanks, Keith. Multiple bad jokes. Again, a thank you to everybody for being here today. I want to give a shout out to one event that's taking place this Saturday, 9 a.m. At the corner of Holliston and Main Street. We are dedicating Rossetti's Corner. So now that this project is complete, Rossetti's Corner dedication, honoring the late Freddie Rossetti, and the fact that he occupied that spot with his business for so many years and served this community. That is a very fitting tribute to him on Saturday, so everyone's more than welcome to come on out And again, the next project, believe it or not, will be some water main work in Brentwood next year. So if you miss the potholes, we'll set you up with a schedule where you can drive there. And stay tuned for Village Street. Thank you very, very much.